What do we call a space station that is no longer in operation? Well, we can call it a space junk, but there's a more specific term for it. We call it a graveyard. And today we're going to talk about one of these space graveyards. It is called the First Stage Adapter, or FSA, and it is located in an extremely privileged place in low Earth orbit. This space station was launched back in 2011. It was a part of the International Space Station, or ISS, and served as a docking node for visiting spacecraft. But in 2018, its function was taken over by another module, and the FSA was no longer needed. So it was moved to a special parking orbit, and now it's basically a storage unit for old and valuable stuff from various space agencies. It is basically a space junk, but with a purpose. Why is it so privileged to be in low Earth orbit? Well, this is the orbit that the ISS occupies, and it is the perfect place to have a space station because the Earth's atmosphere provides enough air resistance to keep the station in a stable orbit without having to fire the engines too often. Also, it is easy to reach this orbit from the surface of the Earth, but once your spaceship is in this orbit, it is very difficult to leave without powerful engines. The reason is that if you want to leave this orbit, you have to go either up or down. And if you go up, then you will end up in a highly elliptical orbit where you will spend most of your time far away from the Earth and the atmosphere. And if you go down, well, then you will end up in the atmosphere and most likely burn up completely. So unless you have a powerful rocket, it is very hard to leave this orbit. But why would we need to leave this orbit? Well, to visit the moon or to go to Mars, we need to escape the Earth's gravity completely. To do that, we need to speed up, and to slow down in space, we use the Oberth effect. You may have heard of this before. It is basically using gravity to speed up your spaceship. If you approach a planet just so you can fire your engines while you are close to it, you can gain a lot of speed without expending much fuel. But if you're already in low Earth orbit, then you don't really have this luxury. So if you want to go to Mars, for example, you will need a lot of fuel. And if you have a lot of fuel, you will need a big rocket. Basically, the bigger the rocket, the more payload it can carry. And the more payload it can carry, the more massive it is. And the more massive it is, the harder it is to launch. Do you see the problem here? But let's put this problem aside for a second and talk about how cool it would be to have a space station in this strategic position in space. For example, if we put a telescope there, it could observe the